You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network.
Being 15 days away from 2025 says a lot. 2024 has whipped through the calendar this year. I don't know if you feel that way, but I can definitely say that this year has been a momentous amount of traction, that it has just moved so swiftly. I can recall feeling like we were having 2.5 week months. It seems like the first of the month was rolling around in less than 20 calendar days. And it's just weird. It just feels like everything just sped up. And I know that I'm not the only one. Many people spoke on that this year. And I believe that that's not for happenstance. I think that is something that physically we feel our days. We feel our moments and times within our body, within our minds, in our actions. I think that we display the way the world moves within us. You know, it can be in our physical presence. It can be in our conversations. It can be in the thoughts that we're exercising on moment to moment, which leads me to today's discussion. And I felt like this is a late recording for me because I just could not lock in something that moved me enough. And I'll admit that sometimes I have to really work to ease my mind and then allow myself to get enough of the level of inspiration that gives me enough traction to say that this is something that I feel good to talk about. So it leads me to our subject today, which is do something that moves you. Because in the reality we have today, that's the one thing we know is that we have today during the time period that we're spending, whether I'm talking to you or you're listening to me. And tomorrow is the hope for us to continue on whatever path that we have decided to take, whatever we've put our focus into, whatever we've allowed ourselves to get involved in or with. And so it just becomes a continuation of the day before, the weeks before, the months before, unless you construct a whole new direction, a whole new systematic approach to something. You venture off left and you just totally walk away from everything you've been doing before. I mean, it's not impossible, right? I feel that that's to be said when we are at a point of directional change, whether it's our life, our careers, relationships, our personal development, all of these things that we're made up of, right? So I think it's important that we spend the right time doing the things that matters to us, right? Y'all know what time it is. It's Monday, and it's time for Sonny's Money Motivation. Let's go. Welcome to LouddMouth Radio Network. My name is Sonny. As a former professional athlete turned entrepreneur realtor and the producer of LouddMouth Radio Network, I look forward to bringing content to you that empowers, inspires, and entertains you. Tune in each week as we have unscripted and unfiltered talks from entrepreneurship, real estate, politics, entertainment, comedy, LGBTQ topics, day-to-day life, and everything in between. All shows available on demand 24/7 on your favorite podcast platforms.
Portals Entertainment Center is a new 13,000 square foot entertainment experience now open in Temecula. Portals creates a space where your imagination can be set free. Step into an immersive entertainment center that will take visitors into one of our many attractions, which include 2 9-hole indoor mini golf courses, an immersive laser tag arena, a designated arcade space, a food service component, party and event spaces, and a hidden 21 and over lounge. Portals aims to give each visitor a unique experience, taking them to unknown worlds and experiencing an entertainment center like no other. Open 7 days a week, located at 26469 Inez Road in Temecula, California, in between At Home and Temecula Theaters. Come check us out and step into adventure.
The Breeze Effect is your premier destination for professional in-home wine tastings and mobile wine bar services. Our customized mobile trailer is designed to bring a touch of elegance and sophistication to any event. At Breeze Effect, we believe that every celebration deserves an intimate and unique experience that you and your guests will remember for a lifetime.
So earlier today, I was working on a few things as it pertains to my upcoming comedy show that is in January 10th to be exact. And for most people, that's like, oh, okay, that's in a few weeks. For me, it feels like in 4 days. It just feels as if the days are just calendared to give you reminders of what you say is important. Because you know what's the truth of the matter, guys? What you feel is what's important. It may not be for others to feel the same level of importance. So it becomes this piece of the aspect of how you develop your days and time. And what I mean by that is that we are all doing things in our own time period. And at some point we might intersect, right? Whether it's at work, at church, in social circles, on the street, in traffic, in a store, social media. There's all these intertwining things that's happening all at the same time. And because of that, there's significance that lies within ourselves to make sure that what we are doing, what we're putting time and energy to, that it just matters. Or you can just decide to be aimless and just allow it to just move in its own course and just be wherever you decide to be. I know for me, I find myself working more and more purposefully. And I'm not going to get into a grim conversation of life, but I've had this opportunity to have really good conversations with various amounts of people. I think that's one of the cool things that as a producer and a host of a radio network, I talk to different personalities. I talk to different people and they come from these different backgrounds. And I think it's something amazing to listen to people unfold what they are, what they're experiencing in their life. Right. And some of those things can be from a background of comedy. It can be a great background from business, them being entrepreneurs. It can come from a level of community activism or work. It can also come from, some civic duties. I've had a large bestowing amount of time to talk to people. And it's funny because I don't really think about it that way, but in reality, I do talk to a lot of people. And in January of 2025, at the end of January, I will be celebrating 12 years of LouddMouth Radio. And so you can only imagine over the 12 years that I have been doing what I'm doing right now, I made a decision to allow some part of my time to be devoted to a person either sitting in the room with me, on the phone, mic'd up, in front of me, and allowing them to make a decision to share whatever it is that they have that's, of higher learning, of a discipline, of a passion, of a gift. It could even be life experiences, right? And because of that, I realized that I have allowed myself to be involved in other people's activities, their businesses, their jobs, their families, their brains, like what's going on in their minds, what is important to them. And and they'll get with me and have an opportunity to talk in regards to those things that matter to them. Because if it didn't, then they would not take the time to talk to me. They would not take the time to say, Sonny, I want to be able to come on and share some insight. And that's pretty powerful, guys. I don't know if what I'm saying is even making the reach of magnitude of what I'm actually kind of experiencing as I'm telling you at this moment, right? As I'm speaking to you, it is also in the same sense giving me a moment of astounding reality. The funny thing about that is that there are some that will never get the opportunity to say or speak or share or give insight because they're no longer in our physical plane. And if you are able and capable of hearing what I'm saying, I am beckoning you to do something that moves you. And that capacity, that ability to be able to occupy this space that we call our lives, right? We're all interactively existing at this moment in time. And we're doing something that's taking part of the whole, right? So what is that something to you? Does it make you feel like you're giving it something of value? Does it feel like you're just taking up space? You're just taking up time? Or do you feel like it's something that has a valued position? It's funny, as I'm talking to you, I'm looking at my wall of certificates and degrees, and then one is in particular that's standing out to me right now is a master's of project management. I got that degree in the year of 2012, and it was so funny. I remember I was on a track of taking courses at DeVry University and Keller Graduate School of Management. So DeVry has undergrad courses, and Keller Graduate is the graduate school level of master's degree programs for the School of DeVry. So shouts out to the alma mater there, where I got two of those things there and a bunch of debt, right? But what's amazing is that I remember taking a course, and it was an elective initially. It was a course that I needed to fulfill the gap of a class because I was in the process of doing an MBA in marketing, which I would later go back and finish. I actually, I'm going to just tell you this. So I'm on this MBA track with my master's, and I needed to take a course to fill in because I needed to have something on my schedule. And the courses of that class requirement of what I needed remaining wasn't available to me. So my counselor, one of the student counselors, God bless his soul, Ronnie Boscom, I believe I'm saying his name correctly. He actually gave me some insight about a course, and he told me that this is a course that may be interesting to you. And it was a project management course. And I said, project management? He said, yeah, I think you should, look at this. And he said, the professor that is actually teaching this course is a phenomenal person. I don't know if you know who she is. And I was like, well, who's the professor? And he said, her name is Vanessa Elkins Rogers. And she is a professor that is teaching the project management track. And I know that is not a part of your curriculum, but it's something that I think, you like challenges, you like things, and you're a thinker. So here, this is my suggestion. So sure enough, I took the course, added it to my class workload. And at this particular time, I was still taking courses on campus. And so I come into this classroom, and I meet and greet other students that are in the graduate level courses. And sure enough, Vanessa Elkins Rogers is sitting behind a desk, and she's preparing to start classes. And we quickly went into introductions, and she shared us quite a bit of who she was and, some of her background, and then gave an opportunity for all of us to talk about who we were. And what's amazing that if you've ever taken college courses, if you've ever been in a classroom with other students in a college course, you get to find that these different people are coming from all walks of life. And Keller Graduate School primarily attracts people who are considered working class, probably full-time working students who are shadow boxing life and taking courses at night or online or doing whatever time period offset of their job requirements. So the majority of the students in that body of work is in that exact frame, right? That's how life looks for them. Their parents, their family, they're juggling it all. And so I come into this classroom, and my professor at the time, she introduces herself, and she tells us to all, take time to introduce ourselves. And she did this cool thing as an intro for us to, I think she wanted us to say maybe 4 things about ourselves. And out of the 4, one of them would be a false thing. And what she wanted us to do is, as we listen to those things that they said, see if we could figure out the one thing about them that wasn't true. Right. And I don't even remember what I said per se, but what I think it did, and it made people actually pay attention and focus to the person as they would go around the room introducing themselves. And it created a level of engagement immediately. Right. And the one thing that I just naturally would do is that, and it was so funny because she told us to do this. I had already kind of done this thing for some time period, which was on the first day, I would have my notebook and my pen, and I would write down people's names, and I would kind of write these notes about them and what they said. So if they were entrepreneurs or they worked at a job, they did certain things, they had children, so I naturally was already in tune with this little study thing that we were doing as an introduction of each other in our class. And what's so funny is that I don't believe a lot of people was doing this, but they were paying attention enough to try to guess what a person may be giving us that was misleading. The thing that I thought was incredible in that process is that Vanessa, which I've come to intimately know more about her in the sense of her personal existence and how incredible of a person she is, right? And when I mean intimate, I mean close enough of real life and not just this, third dimensional person that you don't know exists in the world other than this just your teacher, right? But I got to know some phenomenal things about her, and she would put me in mind of the acumen of Michelle Obama, right? Her intelligence, her ability to educate, the way that she would educate you and the things that she would give you insightfully. And because of that one course in that class and that one opportunity that I took, it made me open up to the possibility of understanding that my learning track did not have to just exist under one dimension of, business administration, my MBA, or international business, which is what my MBA would eventually become as well. The project management course opened my brain to the fact that each and every person, and I say this course because of the professor behind the course and the way that she would give insight about project management, that it made sense to me that as an individual, we're all managing our lives in some capacity, right? And it became such an amazing experience for me. And after I wrapped that course, I immediately followed the next course. And I think there had to be at least 15 to 20 students that, like me, had a discovery of this course and had a discovery of this individual. And her influence, her education, her energy, her brain power, and her innate ability to want to give opportunity of learning is what drew people to her, right? And over the years, I got to know and meet, her husband and her parts of her family, and she's just an incredible person as a whole, right? But because of that part of her that she found to be important enough. Now, what's incredible is that Vanessa Elkins Rogers is a finance. Her underbelly with everything is finance. I know that her degrees, they run finance and variation of studies, but the way that she thinks, her logical side of her thinking, project management aligned well. And I think it aligned well for all of us. And there were many students in that course that had different variations of master's courses of focus. So one of my other classmates, Angela, she was in Masters of Project Management, and she dove into the IT side of things, right? And there was other students that shadowed other things, but the project management side of it was this cool underbelly that allowed you to discover how to prepare and to break things down and how to look differently at projects. And so for me, this is a coursework, right? But it ranged so much deeper to me. And I could see all these parallels of how things in our life look like something that is a term that you learn in project management, a Gantt chart, right? So you have these charts and you learned how to read these trends and you notice things. And if you're doing these timelines of projects in your job, they almost kind of put you in mind of like things that are happening in your life. You have, just take for instance, you have a child or you're responsible for another human that is on a track of school or education. They're going through elementary, then they go to middle school, then they go to high school, then they may go to college. That's a track. You know, there's this line of traction that's happening. Even in your own life, if you've ever done anything of higher education but beyond high school, you're noticing these tracks that you're taking and you just continue to keep going and keep going and keep going. What makes you keep going is that there's something there that moves you, right? And as I would sit into these courses with this person, who I never met, I came into this intersection from one other person that led me to another person that led me to another person. And then these different friendships came out of that group of people who, along with myself, made a decision that something about this subject matter moved me. And it made me feel important, like it was important enough for me to continue on a journey. And I eventually took every course that there was in project management. And I actually ended up getting my degree in project management before I completed my MBA that I'd already had coursework in. By the time I swung back to do the MBA after taking a break of maybe 3-4 years, I only had about 7 courses to finish the MBA. So I'm giving y'all that idea or that concept of attention or work ethic or magnetism. Like, in order for things in your life to move, you have to have some connection to it. There has to be something that gives you enough knack to say that this is one worth my attention, is worth my time, is worth my energy. Because I'll tell people for I don't know, over 2 decades, I've had this mantra that I can make more money, but I can't get my time back, right? Time is such a precious tool that a lot of times we take for granted. We don't necessarily keep a grip on what that thing is. That one thing that we can't measurably hold. We can't even taste it. We can't smell it. We can't hug it. We can't do anything other than occupy ourselves in it. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to occupy yourself in this level of time and existence, do something that moves you, that makes you feel like it's worth you giving it time and attention. So for me, I've come to understand and know certain things about Sonny that matters to Sonny. And I know that I am a life learner. I know that I'm someone that will always constantly look for some educational processes or moments of awareness or taking in something that allows my brain to say, and to just continue on down that path of it. But deciding what gets that attention, whom that gets that attention, and why. Have you sometimes take an inventory of the people that are in your life, whether it's friends or social connections or professional connections, or even families. Your families, there's attraction of people in your family that have connection to you. And, even in that dynamic, you may not have the same interaction spent with time of family that you may have with other people. And there's reasons only you understand or know why, right? But why or what drives you to want to make time when it comes to things that are going on in your life and the people that is surrounding your life, right? I just feel like it's more a effervescent moment of reflection when you realize how much time you give to things and people. Even for yourself, like when you're spending time watching something, reading something, doing absolutely nothing, social media scrolling, these different things that we just do. We all have our own little quirks and how we allow the time to be spent. And I think I mentioned this probably on the last couple shows back, where Comedian Deon Cole made a statement about everybody has 24 hours. What are you doing in those 24 hours? Right? And I've come to look at that even more as of late, and unfortunately we live and we die. I've had a family member that passed recently, and it's a first cousin. So, most times a lot of us, when we're growing up, we have, our interactions. And for me, a lot of my cousins were my friendships. They were my alignments. And so when you're, first cousins, or, you're close in age, or you're around each other a lot, you're going through life. And whether or not you're seeing that person every day, there's still this history of experience of having those interactions and seeing that person grow and progress. Right. And so for the years that I've been here, I've had a genealogy log of people I've had interactions with in different states, countries, almost feels like different universes, and I look at how invaluable our opportunities are to interact with one another. And if we're really, really, really take an inventory of how important that is. And I think that as we're 9 days away from Christmas, we're 15 days away from New Year's, and 16 days, we'll be looking at 2025, January 1st, and we'll be in a whole nother decade, not even a decade, a whole nother year. And, I feel like, and I pray that we are all able to still say that we're here come January 1st, 2016, right? I just feel like we are so much more capable of utilizing this space and time that we're called in our bodies, right? We have so much time in the physical plane to be or do. And I think it becomes a question of, what are you doing with it? What are you making that thing be worth? What are you elementing out of it? Are you doing something that moves you? Are you doing something that matters? Right? And if it's moving you, it can be something so substantial that you're giving life to other people. And if you're not, then my suggestion to you is to consider how and where can you add to your life? What can you give to yourself first that can maximize so much of your days, that can make more quality aspects to your existence, right? And only you can answer that. And I feel like we're given the opportunity to explore that. And so because that responsibility solely falls on our shoulders, I am talking to you directly and saying, do something that moves you. And I feel like once you really lock into that, I'm not saying it won't be times you won't be tired, exhausted. You may even want to feel like, man, and what I'm doing, is it worth it? That's your answer. That's your question, and that's your answer. And if it's not as fulfilling as you need it to be, then what more can you give to yourself to make it be? What more can you devour yourself to be? How much more can you invest in yourself? How much more can you empower yourself? And if you're doing those things, I feel like your existence will expand. Your life's purpose will appear probably more clear than you've ever been able to fathom. And if not, that means that you may just need to dig some more. Or maybe you've plateaued in some things, and you may have done some stuff. And I'm not dismissing that. Don't say anything. Don't say Sonny over here dismissing me. That's not what this is. But I do feel like the more that we continue to strive for things, the more we get to live. And the days that we get to the point that we're no longer striving or getting up to go for something, things will start looking a little bit different. And I feel like your body and your mind and your spirit will start to feel a little bit different. And trust me, I know what those signs can start to look like. So I'm charging you to do something that moves you guys. That's it. That's all I wanted it to be. So I hope that you guys are having a wonderful work week, a wonderful life week, a wonderful purposeful week and social week, and whatever else that you're doing to involve yourself in. All right, y'all. Peace.
Here at Wonderland Learning Center, we're located at 288 East Main Street in San Jacinto. We provide a safe and secure learning environment. We are now enrolling 2 to 5-year-olds with our preschool curriculum. We offer before and after school care. Breakfast, lunch, and snacks are provided. We accept all programs. We are open Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Our website is wonderlandlearningcenter.com.
Hello, my name is Takasha Smith. I'm the owner of Takasha's Kitchen, based out of Menifee in the Southern California area. As a chef and caterer, I provide private cooking classes, couples dinners, and private parties. As a female pitmaster, I am able to create a personalized experience for your family reunion gatherings. I create menus based on my clients' needs to have a more personal vibe. You can find Takasha's Kitchen on all social media networks such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and my YouTube channel at Takasha's Kitchen. And that's spelled TACASHAS Kitchen, KITCHEN.
You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network.
Performing comedy is like creating magic. To hear the room explode with laughter is priceless. And to produce comedy is like having a glass of Stella Rosa, the ability to have others wind down with laughter. With LouddMouth Comedy, it isn't just about me, Sonny. It's also the many hardworking comedians that are dedicated to writing and performing night after night, stage after stage, displaying their talents to the world, and we all do it for the love of comedy. Sometimes you have to remember to relax and savor the moment, one sip at a time. Cheers. Here's to 13 years of LouddMouth Comedy.
You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network.